And I'm going to just make sure everyone's muted. So November 8th, we're kind of talking about reputation. I just kind of picked up this picture because if I think of it as a couple women in my lobby talking to each other, and they could be talking about positive things. They could be talking about negative things. Could be talking about something that's going to be turning into a rumor that could either have a negative impact on the school. You guys all have people watching your classes, so you know exactly what I mean. So your reputation is everything. We start thinking about the lighthouse again, the lighthouse being a symbol of marketing for our school, that we're not chasing people to join our school. We have become the lighthouse. We're attracting customers to our school. So we can keep attracting customers as long as everything that we portray is being fulfilled. So promises we're making to students, promises we're making to families, their experience in the school, how we handle cancellations, how they just feel when they come into our school, how they feel when they leave the school. All that has to do with everyone associated with our school. When I say everyone, it has to do with you, your key staff, has to do with your junior instructors. If they're doing everything to make everyone's experience wonderful at the school, people are going to say nice things about it. If something's happening negative in their lives, they're doing something that goes against school policies, that again affects the lighthouse. So what we want to do is attract people and not repel anyone. So when we talk about the lighthouse isn't just marketing. The lighthouse is the philosophy for your school. If you think it's just marketing, then you're saying that you control the lighthouse. But in fact, you have a certain control over what you put on Facebook and some type of marketing, but not the lighthouse in general. The lighthouse in general is the culture of your school. If students are just happy with the fitness and they're bragging about how good shape they are and they're complimenting instructors, everyone is attracting people to your school. And the reason this is important, because as the owner of your school, if you say something, people who don't know you are going to doubt it. So in other words, we develop champions in life. Well, yeah, that's what you say. That's the byline of your school. But I don't know if that's really true. If your students, your families, or someone they don't know on Facebook says it, then it is true. And that's really, when you start thinking about it, when you guys go to restaurants or things like that, and before you go to a restaurant, you start looking for comments on either their Facebook page, or you're going in for the Google comments or Yelp comments. You don't even know a person, but if someone says the food is really bad, and the service is really bad, all of a sudden you think that's true. It could be someone putting there that has, his standards are totally different than yours, but you tend to believe it's true because you read it in a blog or you read it in a comment. So if we say it's true, people doubt it. If someone else says it's true, they tend to believe it. So that's a really important concept to embrace when we're talking about how we're setting up our reputation and what control we have in the reputation. So what are people talking about? If classes are great and people are getting good results, I'm sure they're talking about that. They're talking about, the next day when they're at work, hey, I went to martial arts last night. My class was amazing. Or I was sitting watching the instructors teach my kids, and they were talking about having an attitude of gratitude, and something just clicked in me. I know it was a lesson for my kids, but it really made me think. So they're talking about that. They could be talking about, man, I have my kids in this martial arts class. I just got to tell you, these instructors are amazing with kids. I mean, I wish I had half their skills with my own kids. They're talking about, bringing in a guest or something you did at the school. I'm looking at John here. John recently did a bully prevention walk, and he had like 65 families to the school. So there's a couple hundred people there. They're all doing a walk. People are talking about that. This is something above and beyond for his school. If you had a fun parents' night out and the parents went out and they had a nice dinner, they're going to be talking about your parents' night out. I recently joined a gym. It's Planet Fitness, and I thought it was really neat because I did a blog, or I did a story about another fitness place that was there for an entire year. And it came time for me to renew my commitment or renew my membership. And the guy at the front counter who said hi to me 3 to 4 times a week always said hi to me, but he never used my name, so he didn't know my name. So it's really important that you call everyone by name. So people don't feel as they are just a client of yours. They feel that you're a teacher and that treats them like family. They're talking about how the student always prepares students and the students look good. You know, I look there and I watch these classes. They're so disciplined. Some of these martial arts moves seem really difficult, but the kids are really good. They're talking about, hey, you know, I've been going to this martial arts school for 2 months. I just missed last week. And they called me. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, they got hundreds of people, and they called me because I missed. They really care about their students. They're talking about, hey, my son just received a good job note from the instructors, and it wasn't just something typewritten out and just printed, and he signed his name. He hand wrote it to my son. I mean, who does that now? They're talking about they're always improving on something. I went there, and all of a sudden, now we have new seats, and the seats all have padded seats. We used to be sitting in plastic chairs. They're always doing something to improve. And they teach that to their students, but they actually put it in action. They're also saying one of the instructors yells at the kids. I don't know why they don't do anything about it. Everyone seems to be nice, but this one instructor has a short temper, and he yells at the kids. They may say, hey, the school's always a mess. You know, I go there 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I know they have a lot of people in that school, but it's always a mess. I mean, I don't even want to sit in the chairs. I don't even think they've cleaned that bathroom in a year. I had to go to the bathroom. From now on, I'm going to the grocery store next door because it's cleaner than the martial arts school. I've seen this, that one I've seen happen to a school. Their schools are nasty, so people used to go next door to the grocery store. So you know what I'm talking about that. I've been there for a little while, and they want me to upgrade to the Ultimate Warrior program for $8,000. I mean, I've only been there 3 weeks, but they say my kid's amazing. The instructor seems nice, but the owner is all about the money. I've heard that several times. I hear the owner is a real party guy. I don't know how many times I've heard that, where people say that they saw the owner and the owner was drunk, or the owner goes to this. He's a real party guy. So you're trying to lead by example, but people are talking about you or one of your instructors behind your back. Hey, did you hear about Sensei? I hear he's dating Mrs. Smith. You guys, I don't have to tell you about that. That happens. But this is the negative stuff, and you hear it. I took a look at the junior instructor's Facebook page. He was in Mexico drinking. I just recently had a client say to me, you got to check out my instructor. I've got this guy. He's only 16 years old. He's totally amazing. So I said, send me his name. I went on his personal Facebook page, and he's at a vape shop. I don't know how many cubic feet of vape that this guy could blow out of his lungs, but you know, that was his thing on Facebook. So if you want to do stuff like that, that's fine. Don't put it on Facebook. People in your school have to understand, people associated with your school, I'm talking about people who have influence over, like your SWAT team and instructors. They have to understand they lead by example. They don't lead by example when they're in the front of the class. They lead by example 24/7. So again, when we talk about reputation, I did one page of all the good things people say, and I also wrote a page about bad things people say. So what can you do about all this? Well, when people join Black Belt Schools International, one of the questions that I ask them if they do background checks on all their team members. I won't accept anyone to Black Belt Schools International if they don't do background checks. They do drug checks on all their team members. I recently had a client hire someone. He told him he had to get a drug test. The guy's been working now for 5 weeks. He still hasn't done the drug test. This owner has to decide what he's going to do about that. Again, just talk about their Facebook accounts. I know everyone has a private life, and that's fine, but I'm sure when you hire someone by their good character. In other words, it's not just that they can work cheap for you, but they have good character. So if you're judging their good character, it should be public on Facebook. They shouldn't be doing anything negative. I like John Hackelman's thing. You know, his thing for success is to train hard, live clean, and no one takes my lunch money. I mean, so in other words, he's training, he's living clean, but you know, he's also well protected. Really, really good things. Hey, Tom Baker just jumped on. Mr. Baker, we're talking about reputation today, and I'm talking about things that you can do to make sure that you're doing your best to keep your reputation at the school very, very good. So you talk about their Facebook accounts, and then you also want to talk to them about their leading example 24/7. Now, if that's too much for you, then this may not be the position for you. You're here to help kids. Now, we can't help kids and then all of a sudden they find something that's really, really bad about you, and all that work you did goes right down the drain. So again, if you want to be associated with the school, this is the deal. You know, you can't be at this place at 1 o'clock in the morning and all of a sudden get in some type of trouble. I mean, that's not the way you do it. I mean, nothing happens good after 11 o'clock at night. That's the time you should be home. Again, you're leading by example 24/7. Again, talk about the lighthouse. Man, if we're going to be the lighthouse and we're going to attract people, people are attracted to people that they want to be around. So if they see everyone in our school successful, and they see all our instructors are happy, that we're helping people all the time, we're volunteering, well, that's the lighthouse. People are attracted to people like that. Make sure they always train. I've been harping on this for a couple weeks. I talked to Steve Baxley's team the other day, and I was talking to Jake. I go, Jake, you still training? He goes, yeah, he's training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If we're going to inspire people to train, we've got to train. Your staff has to train. If you're an owner and you're not in the school, that's totally different. But your team on the floor, if they feel that they're done and now that they're teachers, they're missing the point. Again, leading by example. I want to train. It's constant and never-ending improvement, not just for the students. It's constant and never-ending improvement for the instructors. Monitor Facebook on Sunday. The reason I say this is we had a guy had a school in Mesa, Arizona, and this guy was horrible on social media. So what people do sometimes, and I know this in other business, they go onto Facebook Sunday and they'll have a couple of their people and they'll post to Facebook, I'm looking for a great martial arts school. So someone goes, hey, you should check out East West Karate. I hear they're really great. And then someone else will say, hey, I hear East West Karate is really great. And then someone on their team goes, I've heard some bad things about this school. Well, the reason they do this on Sunday is because they want to ruin your reputation. And I know this for a fact. I don't know if we have a client today, but we were dealing with another business, and it turns out that this was all trying to sabotage someone else's business. It usually happens on Sunday because they don't think the owner and everything's been watching on Sunday. But if someone's going to attack you maliciously, it usually happens on Facebook on Sunday. Have a question box in your school. And the reason you have a question box in your school is no one should be telling you how to run your school, but if they have questions, they'll put a question in the question box. But this is what it's really for. If you hear about something that's going around, some negative talk, maybe you hear negative talk in the lobby, someone saying that, you know, so-and-so got their belt and they didn't deserve it. And another parent's talking about this, and all of a sudden the rumor mill starts. Well, you know, the next time you do graduation, say, hey, you know, I've got some really interesting questions in the question box. And one I got recently was a couple of parents, or a parent wrote in a question saying, I don't understand why some kids get their belts and they're not as good as other kids. And say, I can understand this, and you have to understand that kids go at their own individual rates. When a child's in first grade, some kids are going to get A's, some kids are going to get B's, some kids are going to get C's. Does it mean that the C doesn't deserve to pass? No, well, that C student is trying as hard as they can. They're just not up to it yet. Same thing with the martial arts school. When we have beginners, everyone is going at their own pace. Some kids are getting A's on their tests. Some kids are getting by with C's. The important thing is that for us to keep everyone progressing, getting better and better, so the day that they get their black belt, everyone looks really, really sharp. So the question box goes back to, I hear stuff going on in the background, a lot of talk. I'm going to address this. So you may not wait to graduation. Maybe just put in an email. Hey, parents, you know, this came up. So you don't have to ever get a question box or question in the question box. No one knows that, though, except you. So it's for you to stop any type of rumors or help people understand procedures. Next, make it easy and painless to quit. If someone wants to quit, I'm going to do my best to talk them out of it. I'm going to say, I understand, all of a sudden soccer season's getting in the way, and your child has to participate in soccer. Also know that I talk to coaches in the soccer team, and they say that their best players are part of martial arts. Is there any way we can work on the schedule? They go, nope, it's totally out of the way. We're not going to do it. We want to quit. Okay, I did my best. I said, okay, this is what we do is we're going to cancel your program. You made a payment last week. That's going to cover the next 3 weeks. Please enjoy your training. You're always welcome to come back. We want to make sure it's easy and painless because we don't want people to start saying that, I've been a loyal member of that school for 3 years. I've always recommended the school. My life has changed. We had to stop, and all of a sudden they won't let me quit. Okay, that's the negative stuff that you can do away with. Stopping a payment compared to losing 4 or 5 students, it doesn't equate. So just make it easy and quit. I know everyone takes it personally, but just realize that some people have changed in their life. Okay, that's fine. I understand it. Things you can do is social events are important. Social events is the glue that keeps your school together. When Tom Baker does a graduation and people stay after the graduation and have a potluck dinner, that's a social event. It started as a martial arts event, it's ending as a social event. Parents are getting to be friends with other people. They're getting closer to the instructors. Kids are getting closer together. It's less likely they're going to quit the school or say anything negative. They're probably going to say what a great time they had at the graduation. Kids look great, but Mrs. Smith made the best chili, so whatever. It's really important. Listen to what's going on in the lobby. Don't confront people in the lobby, but make sure you listen. If you have to talk to someone privately, make a time to talk to them privately, but keep your ears out. People, talk about different things. And you just want to, I'm not saying it's good or bad. Maybe they're just talking all good things about the school. And then you want to say, I'm sorry, I was kind of overhearing you say that your child's getting better grades in school. I think that's tremendous. So it doesn't have to be negative talk. It could be positive. Keep your school spotless. Tom Baker knows what a freak I am about that. When I used to do those meetings at a school, I would look up, and if I saw dirty ceiling tiles or light bulbs out, I would make sure I mentioned it. Because certain things you don't see, but people coming into your school see. When I had my school in Coral Springs, I'd have a staff meeting, and I would notice that things are not as clean as they should be. I'd walk in the bathroom and have the whole staff meeting come. I'd take my finger, go down the wall. I say, see this dust? That's not supposed to be there. I would go over to the soda machine. I would go on top of the soda machine, put my hand on there. Oh, dust there. I can't have that. Make sure your school's spotless. And if it's coming down to either hiring a team or just having a good checklist, we don't want people talking about us teaching self-discipline and we can't even keep the school clean. It's got to look really, really sharp. Have a clear refund policy on your pro shop. We're getting into holiday sales and things like that. If someone comes in and all of a sudden they don't like this or doesn't fit properly, make sure you have a clear policy on returns. Same thing if some parent comes up and says, I'm prepaying for all the parent side out, and they give it to some other kid, and the kid comes in and goes, I got this, but I'm never going to use it. Can I use this for something else? I'm not telling you what your policy should be, but just make sure you have a clear-cut policy in that it's posted and be ready to bend a little if you have to. Same thing with your 30-day guarantee. If someone comes in and I sign them up and say, hey, the first 30 days, if any reason you decide you want to no longer train, we'll cancel the remainder of your membership. If someone after week 2 goes, they hate it and they don't want to come back, okay, it's done. It's not nothing we're going to argue about it. I'm going to honor everything that I say I'm going to do in the school. Train your staff on recovery systems. As much as we try to do things right, sometimes we have a challenge. We promised David that we're going to give him a makeup test on Tuesday. Tuesday comes. I didn't give the message to the instructor. The instructor doesn't do it. The mom comes in, talks to the front-end person. I can't believe it. My son was so excited to get his test makeup, and it didn't happen. Well, I'm going to go over 2 things, but we have to have a recovery policy for that. You have to have an ironclad policy. If you have something really goes wrong, we have an ironclad policy that we adhere to. And a part of our recovery system is thank you notes for people who complain. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. The only way we can improve our services is when concerned students like you bring it to our attention. And after all this, don't let clients bully you. See, it's a balancing act. I don't want a guy come and say, hey, you know, I've been a loyal student for the school for a while, but I haven't been coming very much for the next 6 months. I'd like a refund on the next 6 months. Well, that's not going to happen. So as much as I'm going to bend over backwards in certain situations, I'm not going to let anyone bully me. I mean, if he says, oh, I'm going to post that on Facebook, I go, well, if you want to post that you took classes and the classes are ready for you and you took them, but now you want your money back, go ahead and do that. So it's all a balancing act. Okay, so something you can talk to your team about. This is an ease one, feel, felt, found. Someone comes in with a challenge. You tell them, yeah, I know exactly how you feel. Other students have felt the same way, but this is what we found as a solution. So we're going to first empathize with them, telling them that you understand how they feel. Then tell them about someone who felt the same way. Tell them how that person found that things were not so bad, it can easily be learned. So it could be something like this: understand how you feel. Learning a new skill can be intimidating at first. I was helping a student yesterday with the same challenge. What we found is kicking high will come as you gain flexibility. You know, patience is a skill, is also a skill in martial arts. So understand how you feel. Other people have felt the same way, and this is what we found. Person on the front counter should know that. The person who answers the phone should understand that. All your key staff should understand this. All your instructors should understand this. This is part of the recovery system. People just say, man, I don't know, I just must be stupid. I can't remember this form. I understand. I remember when I first started, I couldn't remember star block set. You know, people have that challenges, but this is what we found. In fact, that's why we say up, in, out, touch, down, back, push down when we teach star block set, because when you say it's easier to memorize. That'll be a perfect example of using feel, felt, found. So if you're teaching this to your team and you want to get a little more in depth, I just put this in on this page. By empathizing how they feel, you're building harmony with them to create rapport. When you talk about someone else, how someone else felt, you move the focus to a more objective place, which they are likely to trust you more. This also makes them a part of a group such that they don't feel alone. It's not just my problem. It's other people have had the same type of challenge. When they're attached to that group, they move the whole group by telling how one person in the group has changed their minds, and that client being attached to the group should change their mind at the same time. So feel, felt, found is just really, really great. Now, when you're away, Tom Baker may have something come up, and all of a sudden his staff can't solve the problem. Some mom comes up and she's irate because another mom did this and another mom said that, and this kid bullied my son on the internet, and now we've got 2 students fighting on the internet, and Tom's young staff just can't handle this. So keep calm and trust me, because we're going to use the ironclad rule. The ironclad rule is just like it sounds. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is how it's going to get done. So this goes back to the ironclad rule that I had at United Professionals. If someone couldn't solve the problem, they would say that this problem is not in my pay grade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk this over with Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker will call you within 24 hours and give you an answer to this challenge. May not be what they want to hear, but it'll give them an answer. So we're not just going to say, we're going to get back to you, and people go, man, that guy didn't even listen to me. No, we listened to you. I understand it's really important, but it's out of my control on what I can do. I'm the program director. This is really for the owner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in touch with the owner right away. He's going to get back to you within 24 hours, and he will have an answer that I just can't give you right now. So that's the ironclad rule. We're not putting anyone off. We're telling exactly how we're going to handle the problem. Now, it's important that everyone understands this. This isn't something we're just going to say and then hope it goes away. We're going to follow through, and Mr. Baker, the ball's in his hands now, and he's going to make sure that I told this person at 3 p.m. today that this is what I was going to do. Before 3 p.m. tomorrow, he's going to get in touch with that person and, tell them what's coming up next and how it's going to be handled. So 2 things you can work with your staff: the field felt found, and this one, the ironclad rule. So Tom, before you get on here, what we just did is we talked about our reputation, and we talked about how that refers to the lighthouse. It's all about our school. The reputation is our future of our school. Any type of bad reputation we have, we want to make sure that we can overcome some of those things. We want to do everything in our possible that we always have a good reputation. We talked about people saying great things about us. Our classes are great. Our instructors are amazing with kids. So we just got to make sure we do these things so they do talk about that. The school is always providing something new and fun. Parent side outs are amazing. It's really, really cool. No matter who I meet in the school, everyone knows my name and they use it all the time. Students are always prepared. The students look good quality in the school. And I can't believe it. I've been going there for 2 months. I missed one class. They call me, want to know if I'm okay. I mean, who does that? They sent David a handwritten note, not just a message where it's copied and pasted, but the instructor actually handwritten something. School is always improving on something. They talk about constant every improvement. I went in there and they had new flooring and they had a new logo painted on the wall. I said that because of John, because John's listening. He's under my picture. He's working on the logo on his wall. So we're going to get people talking about that. And then we said just negative things. We got an instructor that yells at the kids. That's a negative thing. School's always a mess. I don't think they cleaned the bathroom in a year. Students get promoted even if they don't look good. It's all about the money. I've been there only a couple weeks. They want me to spend $8,000 for the Ultra Warrior program. The instructor seems nice, but the owner's all about the money. I hear the owner is a real party guy. Did you hear that Sensei is dating this married woman? Take a look at the junior instructor's page. He was out drinking. So, we just want to make sure that we address these things with our staff, and everyone really values the reputation of the school. Have any questions, comments? Is this just common sense that you're working on, or maybe just a healthy reminder?
It's all good stuff. You got to work on it. If there's any negatives, you should hit them right away. Just eliminate the negatives and then always be working on the positives and be that lighthouse. That's good.
I had a consultant. His name is Mark Gillinson, and he's the one who gave me back about the idea of having a question box or suggestion box. Mm-hmm. If you have a suggestion box, every Yellow Belt parent who knows how to run a school better than you is going to have a suggestion. But if you just put it in questions, what you're really doing is now you want to have some type of way to say, I heard this was a challenge, I want to address it. So I thought the question box is a real good idea. You would have stupid questions in there, but, why is this school painted green? Well, green's a motivational. You can always think of something to add in and have some fun with it.
I have a quick question. Do you have anybody you recommend to do a drug test for the employees?
I would just look on Google, find a drug place close to you. I know Doug Bertrand, he does a random drug test on his employees. And before he hires someone, he doesn't give them a chance to clean out and wait a couple weeks. When they're filling out the application, they get in his car. There's a clinic right down the street, and he drives them right over and gets it done.
Oh, he does it himself, man. That's good.
So he brings the person over because it bothers me that this one school owner, he's got an employee waiting 5 weeks to take his drug test because I think he's probably just making sure he gets a clean drug test.
Gotcha.
But again, with our Blackfield Schools International, this is one of the things that I ask on the questionnaires because I think it's really important. And especially if you hire people from the outside. You know, if everyone's just trained, you know people, and you've known them for a long time, and this kid's been around your school for 8-9 years, I mean, you know, that may be a little bit different. But any type of adult coming in, I would always do something like that.
Okay. And let me ask you a question. When you have customers that quit and they will leave, and they say down the road, 6 months down the road, they want to come back again, how you feel about recharging them, or not recharging, but you know, like doing a down payment again?
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
I mean, it's always something that you may want to waive, you know, after you talk to the person. But I think if they stop, they want to come back, again, they're treated more like a new student coming in, paying the full program.
Gotcha. Right. What was the question?
No, you know, I was all these things. Yes.
Mr. Silva, are you free for a couple minutes right after this meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a shout.
Okay. After everyone logs off, if you just want to give everyone a minute to log off and then just log back on, we can just do it.
Sounds good, sir. Thank you.
All these things that I kind of said would, you know, just kind of be positive and a good sense of humor, but a lot of this stuff is true. Having a policy for instructors dating students, or a penalty if they do date a student, it has to be really, really clear. I remember, because I've had a school for so many years, I mean, I've seen that happen over and over and over again. I've had the point where I had that if you were caught dating a student, it was a $100 fine. Second time you got dating a student, it was a $300 fine. If you ever dated a student, you had to pay off their contract. Had all those things. The tougher you are, the better, and you got to be tough. Because I had one student paid a $100 fine, or instructor paid a $100 fine, and then he comes in my office one time, throws $300 on my desk. I go, "What's this for?" He goes, "Well, I want to go out with Sherry, so I just figured you're going to find out sooner or later." So the fine didn't work. So the fine doesn't work. So you just, and I've seen some really bad things, and schools fall apart because of this stuff. So as much as we're laughing, we all know it happens. When we talk about the reputation of our school, it's really important that you have something solid there. Okay, guys, great talking to you. As always, enjoy the rest of your day. Tomorrow's really important that you get on, because we're talking about, with Rainmaker, Mike Andreessen's going to be on. We're going to talk about all our marketing, especially for Black Friday, doing internet sales and online sales during that day. So he's going to tell you exactly how to do it, how to create your pages, how to create your links. So if you're interested in that, and I think it's really cool. I think we should see who can make the most money on Black Friday without being open.
Great.
All right.
Thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it. Keep me posted whenever you make a day for us to meet again.
Yes, sir, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.